Welcome to the Perrysburg Podcast, episode 38. I'm your host and Perrysburg resident, Kim Newlove. Today's episode is an interview with Lauren Rush. Lauren is the Stormwater Coordinator for the City of Perrysburg. If you are new to this podcast, welcome. The Perrysburg Podcast is an informational podcast for prospective, new, and current Perrysburg, Ohio residents. We talk about what's in Perrysburg and why people like to live here. You can find the show notes for this episode on perrysburgpodcast.com. Parks are one of the many reasons that people like living in and visiting Perrysburg. In this episode, you'll hear Lauren talk about Perrysburg's Great American Cleanup, which is how some of our parks get spruced up in the spring. She gives the dates, times, and locations for this year's Great American Cleanup, and she talks about how to volunteer. Then there's some bonus content. We talk about how dog poop affects our local waterways, local drug disposal opportunities, why Lauren loves her job, and more. We cover a lot in our 20-minute interview. Let's roll the interview now. We will start our conversation with Lauren reminiscing about a television commercial from the 70s. You can find that commercial, by the way, on YouTube today. All right, take it away, Lauren.
There was a crying Native American that was going down a river and saw all of the trash as they were heading downstream, and then the city and all of the litter everywhere. And a single tear comes right down their face. And the quote at the end of the commercial was, "Some people have a deep respect for the natural beauty that was once this country, and some people don't. People start pollution, people can stop it." Well, that was a commercial from Keep America Beautiful. And as a part of Keep America Beautiful, the city of Perrysburg became a Keep Perrysburg Beautiful city. We're a spinoff of that program. And the whole goal is to inspire our community to stop pollution and to help us clean it up and have a beautiful place to live.
I remember that commercial. I am a child of born in the 70s, but grew up in the 80s, and I remember that commercial. I do. It's sad, but the message is that, if people cause this problem, they can also fix it. So what can we do locally, Lauren?
Well, we have a lot of opportunities here in the city of Perrysburg. Since we're right on the front of the Maumee River, we have so many different opportunities to access the outdoors. We have a lot of wonderful city parks. And every spring, the city hosts our Great American Cleanup. And the Great American Cleanup is a cleanup of the city parks. This year, we're hosting at 4 different parks, and they all have water somewhere in the park. And we're trying to collect our litter as much as possible and get as many folks involved as we can as well. We are hosting at Orleans Park, Rivercrest Park, Municipal Park, and Three Meadows Park this year.
I love all those parks. When is this happening?
Well, because we have Earth Day coming up, April 22nd every year, we decided to site these cleanups around Earth Day. Our first 2 cleanups, which are Orleans Park and Rivercrest, are on Sunday, April 21st, and that'll be from 2 to 4. And we wanted to make sure that we picked some dates and times that would work for anyone's schedule. So our second day of cleanups are a Saturday, April 27th. That's Municipal Park and Three Meadows from 9 a.m. to 11.
Thanks for the info. Do you have enough volunteers yet?
Well, we're doing really well with Orleans and Rivercrest Park on Sunday the 21st. Those seem to be pretty popular, but we definitely need more volunteers for Municipal Park and Three Meadows.
How does somebody sign up if they're interested in helping?
Well, the city partners with Partners for Clean Streams, which is a really cool organization that's based here in Perrysburg. And they have a link to their website to sign up for any of those dates. They also have some other cleanups on there aside from what we're doing here in Perrysburg, if people aren't able to join us for those dates but still want to volunteer their time.
Okay, I'll put a link to that sign up so they can register as a volunteer in the show notes for this episode. Thank you for mentioning that.
Thank you.
You are welcome. I have kids. They are older. I have an 18-year-old and a 21-year-old, but I know that volunteer work makes an impression on a young person. I'm sure you're looking for young people, but adults too, right? So you're just looking for any able bodied person who cares about making Perrysburg beautiful, right?
Absolutely. Our regular participants are usually Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, community groups. The Rotary is a very active member in a lot of our cleanups. And it's really great for kids because we have to teach our citizens young what happens if we don't dispose of things appropriately. And I tell you what, it's really easy to keep kids from smoking after they see all of the cigarette butts that you find on the ground everywhere. A lot of people think that cigarette butts are biodegradable. They'll throw them out onto the ground thinking they're cotton, they're gonna break up, but they're actually made of plastic. A lot of people don't know that. So they don't biodegrade, and we're starting to see more vapes around. So as soon as you pick those things up off of the ground, you don't ever want to see them again. So really good encouragement for our younger folks. We also find quite a bit of food wrappers, cups, those types of things that really, it almost makes you not even want to buy fast food anymore. So you can save you some money too.
It's like preventing bad habits, perhaps smoking, eating fast food that have wrappers. I don't know. Just a thought. It's like a prevention. You're scaring people straight, right? If you use
Yes,
it and you have to clean it up, it kind of starts the cycle of not wanting to consume that anymore.
absolutely.
Well, I can imagine that, especially with young people, them seeing the types of things that even adults litter our earth with makes an impression. So you mentioned cigarette butts, vapes, fast food wrappers, things like that. Can you think of the weirdest thing that you've ever found during this Great American Cleanup program?
We have found some pretty weird things. The first year that I was involved, we pulled a whole shopping cart out of a ditch. We found some really creepy dolls, appliances, not necessarily in the city parks, but other locations. One year we even found bullets. They were blanks, and we reported it to the person in charge, aka me. I took care of them so that volunteers didn't have to touch those. But some of the weirdest things that end up out there in our environment. And we like to think that it's 2024 and people aren't intentionally littering anymore. We know that that's not always true, but a lot of times litter gets into our environment on really windy days. People put their toters out, it gets knocked over, the trash blows everywhere. You can't run after it to pick up every single piece. And I don't know anyone that hasn't happened to. As a reduction technique, we always ask people, don't put your toters out too early if it's a very windy day, get them back in. Maybe if that's something that's happened to you and you felt very guilty about not being able to pick up all of the stuff that flew out of your toter, come join us at a cleanup and make up for it.
All right. Hey, I think that's a really good rationale because anybody who that's happened to, you might feel like you're in the movie Twister, right? With those little metal things flying up into the funnel. And it's like, oh, I'm never going to get it back. You do the best you can, but almost as a just to kind of make up for it, this is a great opportunity to help. And as you were explaining creepy dolls and shopping carts and all the weird things that you're picking up, I just think of what it looks like when people actually go out there because you see people in vests, right? They're being safe and they've got the trash picker uppers, like a handheld little device. So they don't have to touch the creepy doll with their bare hands, right?
Hmm. Absolutely.
What kind of equipment do you provide so that the volunteers can stay safe and keep the cooties from the creepy dolls off of their hands?
So via Partners for Clean Streams, they provide at these cleanups the gloves, safety vests, trash bags, all of the different things that you would need for a cleanup. They also have these data cards where they fill out one person in each group fills out what exactly is being found so we can keep track and have metrics to show what we collect at each cleanup to see how much we collected and how it changes over time. So we used to collect a lot more glass, and then it was more aluminum, and now plastics, plastics, plastics. So we always make sure to record And also, that information is used for grant funds for these programs to see that we can get more money into our community to do more projects like this.
I love data. I would actually be really interested to look at that. I'm just curious, where is that data located?
Partners for Clean Streams, yep, they have it on their website.
Very cool. I'm going to check that out because I'm just curious. You mentioned a partner earlier. It was the Partners for Clean Streams. That is an organization that's here in Perrysburg, right?
Correct, yep, they're in the uptown area.
Yeah, what do they do other than helping with the Great American Cleanup?
So they also assist the City of Perrysburg with storm drain marking, which is an event that I've done with the high school students the last couple years. They do litter cleanups anytime throughout the year. It's called Clean Your Streams 365, where if you have a group that you would like to come do a cleanup, they provide all the materials at whatever location you'd like. You just coordinate with them. And then Clean Your Streams Day is one of the biggest ones. We do that in the fall. I'm their kickoff coordinator for the Perrysburg area, but that's all of Northwest Ohio, all on the same day. One of the other programs that's a little bit smaller but near and dear to my heart is Get the Let Out. That usually takes place after the walleye run is over. We're in the walleye run time frame right now. If you go down to Orleans, Buttonwood, you'll see so many fishermen. And I know I personally have been walleye fishing many times. And sometimes while you're out there, you might cast, you get snagged on some of those rocks on the bottom of the river, you lose your whole rig. So you don't have your lure, your sinkers, any of your stuff anymore. And it's not like you can hop in the river to go get it. So Get the Let Out kind of gives you the opportunity to volunteer after these large fishing events to go out there and collect the stuff that you find on shore, because usually it does wash downstream and onto the sides of the river. By getting those sinkers out of the river, we're getting the lead out of the river.
That is such a great comment to make around the Maumee River Walleye Run time. Talking about people losing their jigs and their all their lures and things like that. It's part of fishing. You win some, you lose some. The other day, I was on the Maumee River Walleye Run Facebook page that's run by one of the guests of this podcast, Brian Miller, and a guy had an entire chain of lures and jigs, and it was very colorful, but it can happen. So you go fishing and you pull that out. So I think it would be helpful if it's not there in the first place and people were a little bit more diligent about participating in things like the Great American Cleanup. And then what's the fall event that you're talking about?
Clean Your Streams Day.
Clean Your Streams Day. Then maybe it won't be possible for that guy to have that awesome photo that's on Facebook. That's not a good thing that that's there.
Yes. And this year it will be September 28th for Clean Your Streams Day. That's fresh off the presses. We just chose the date for it.
I'll put that in the show notes as well. September 28th. Thank you. Lauren, are there cleanup opportunities at other times during the year, or is this Perrysburg's Great American Cleanup the only thing in April?
We do focus the Great American Cleanup in April, but groups are encouraged to volunteer at any time of the year. For example, last week we had a school group that cleaned Route 20 over there by Kroger. Anyone that's driven by that area sees how much it collects, and we're always looking for groups to clean there. Other than Clean Your Streams Day in the fall, if people ever want to reach out, they can contact me directly, Lauren Rush. My number is 419-872-8074. They can call me and I'm happy to set them up with a cleanup at whatever their location in Perrysburg would be.
Thank you for sharing that. Now, you just watch. Your phone's going to be ringing off the hook.
I hope so.
Wouldn't that be great? All right. Hey, it's important that we have clean areas here in Perrysburg, especially the parks. I absolutely love our parks. And for anybody who's looking to move here or is brand new here or has been here for a while and you wonder, hey, how do these parks get cleaned up? It's not 100% the maintenance worker. There are designated opportunities throughout the year where people in the community can pitch in. And I think that's important to know. We are a community and people pitch in because we care about Perrysburg being clean.
Absolutely. When you look around Perrysburg, you will notice that it is already a pretty clean place. But that's no accident. There's a lot of effort that is put in to keep our community beautiful because we all want to have a clean, safe place to live.
Absolutely. Off mic, a little bit before we started the recording here, you were telling me that trash is where the people are. And I think as we attend events this spring, summer, fall, even possibly winter outside, we can just be good citizens. And as we're at an event cleaning up our stuff, if you see something, pick it up, put it in the trash can. You can make a difference every single day.
Absolutely.
Lauren, as we start to wrap this up, I have two more questions. One I've got to ask because I'm a pharmacist, and the other because I'm a former dog owner. I'm sure you know where I'm going with this dog owner thing. Everybody loves to talk about poop, right? So I've got to ask, what do you recommend people do with their dog poop?
Well, a lot of people don't realize that when you have a dog and it poops outside, that the poop doesn't just disappear. The next time it rains, that poop breaks down, and a lot of times it washes into our local waterways and takes a lot of E. coli with it. So, one of our really important initiatives here in the city is called PUP, PUP, pick up poop. And we have dog poop scoopers at all of our city parks. And we encourage people to pick up poop when they have their dog out for a walk. In fact, I even have little clip on dog poop baggies that I hand out at outreach events. So if you see me out and about, make sure you get yourself a hydrant.
Nice, nice. I used to have one of those. It looked like a hydrant, and you have the little, plastic sacks inside of it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, clip it right onto the leash and then, yeah, refill it as needed. I raised two little boys, and poop, of course, was a popular topic. And we loved our dogs, of course. We had a golden retriever named Bond and a yellow lab named Chewy. And we always did the spring pickup. And we tried our best to get all the poop in the bag, throw it in the trash can. Was I doing it right, Lauren? What do you think?
Yes, absolutely. That's the right way to do it.
All right. And what's the wrong way to do it?
Leaving it on the ground, or even worse, I've seen a lot of people pick up their dog poop in a plastic bag and then leave the plastic bag full of dog poop on the ground, which is just double polluting. Please, let's not keep doing that, anyone.
I think I've done that once when I thought I'd come back that way again and I didn't want to carry it on my hike. And I have been guilty of that crime, Lauren. I'm guilty. But I won't be doing that anymore. I don't have any dogs. But thank you for sharing a best practice. Take that bag of poop, throw it in the trash. Got it. All right. And my other question comes from my background as a pharmacist. I have been an Ohio licensed pharmacist for more than 20 years. And over the years, I've seen a lot of conflicting information about flushing medicine down the toilet. The EPA says one thing, the FDA says another, but then you, as the local stormwater program technician, probably have your own take on things. So, what exactly should we be doing with our medications?
As background information, there are two different sewers in town. You have your storm sewers. That's where all of the rain goes. Only rain down the drain for those, the ones that are out in the road or in your backyard. They go untreated to our local waterways. We want to keep that clean. But all of the drains inside of your house, your toilet, your sink, anything indoors goes to the sanitary sewer, which then goes to the wastewater treatment plant down at Orleans Park. Wastewater treatment plants are designed, for lack of better way to say it, your poos and your peas, and not much else otherwise. They're meant to get the solids out and to make that water clean enough to release back into the Maumee River. When people flush things down the toilet that are not the peas, the wastewater treatment plant, none of them out there are designed to handle those pharmaceuticals. We ask that people do not flush pharmaceuticals, but then the question is, okay, what do I do with them? So we have a drug drop-off area at the police station that is open 24/7. You can get in there at any time. There's a lockbox, drop them off in there, and they'll be disposed of properly.
I approve of that message. Nicely done, Lauren. Absolutely. Drug take back days are coming up. I believe we've got one April 27th, 2024, from 10 a to 2 p. The City of Perrysburg and Perrysburg Township don't necessarily do anything with, balloons and banners or anything, but they'll take your drugs that day and any other day. So since we have these great resources with our police stations, let's use them. I approve of what you said. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. As long as we can help keep these things out of our environment, keep our water clean.
Definitely. All right, as we start to wrap this up, Lauren, I've got one more question for you, and then I'll let you go. How did you become a stormwater program technician? What interested you in doing this?
I love being outdoors. I love kayaking, swimming, bird watching, any type of outdoor activity you can think of. It's something that I enjoy. And if I'm going to spend my life outdoors, I want to be in the best outdoors possible. I want to enjoy a clean environment, clean water. I want the animals that I interact with to have a good habitat. Through my job, I get to make a difference and I get to reap the benefits as well as the community that I live in. It really is a natural fit for me. And I've been doing environmental stormwater type work for about 12 years now.
Lauren, I had never heard of you or your role until this interview. So thank you for the important work that you do. I'm sorry I didn't know you existed before this, but I love your why. You love being outdoors and you want to make America beautiful. I guess I'm paraphrasing, but thank you. I love your why. I really appreciate what you do. And thank you for being here on the Perrysburg Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Great job, Lauren, and thanks for all you do for Perrysburg. I'll have a link to volunteer for Perrysburg's Great American Cleanup in the show notes on perrysburgpodcast.com. I'll also have several other links in the show notes, including Lauren's contact information, a link to the Keep America Beautiful video that Lauren talked about, a link to Partners for Clean Streams, information about Drug Take Back Day, which is April 27th, the sign up for the weekly newsletter for this podcast, and more. Lots of links today. Everything you need is on perrysburgpodcast.com. If you know someone who enjoys our parks here in Perrysburg and wants to volunteer for Perrysburg's Great American Cleanup, please share this episode with them. And if you like this podcast, please subscribe to or follow the Perrysburg Podcast on your favorite podcast player and YouTube to get each new episode right when it comes out. Thanks for listening today. I'll talk to you next week.